Hello, my name is Tanner Forrest. I am a fourth year athletic training student in the Missouri State Sports Medicine and Athletic Training Department, and I am here to discuss Chapter 12 and the afterword of Extreme Ownership, this leadership book we've been reading all semester. And let's get into Chapter 12. So, with Chapter 12, they talk about discipline basically, and how it gives a story of how they go through searching and going through these missions and searching buildings and taking over the buildings themselves. And they used to go through and they just ransacked the place, and that's how they did it. And it took them forever, and it wasn't very efficient. And so one of the authors gave their junior leader the task of coming up with a better plan of how to attack that task, and he came up with a better idea of giving everybody a simple task, and everybody goes through and has one room and performs that simple task and goes through it that way. And they soon discovered that by having that discipline of just doing your job, doing it simply, it was a lot faster than ransacking the whole place and doing it with chaos. So, let's see here. So we get into the principle section here, and basically they list a lot of qualities that a leader really needs to have, and certain things that they call it a dichotomy of what a leader needs to do. And they have a big list here of things like a leader needs to be aggressive but not overbearing. So you want it to be assertive and make sure that your junior leaders and people know that they can look up to you, and make sure that they know that they can, not be too in their face about everything and over aggressive. Make sure that as a leader, you are calm but not robotic in nature, so that you show emotion and you show that anger and the frustration and everything, and making sure that you're not just necessarily making sure that you stay even keel, but that you're not like blah all the time and just nothing, no emotion. I find they made a quote in here, and I'll read it to you. That leaders that lack confidence in themselves fear being outshined by someone else. And I feel like this can apply to athletic training, in the way that if you have a preceptor that possibly feels threatened by maybe the knowledge that you show as an undergraduate or something. I'm not saying that I've had a situation like that, but say you did, that they could start resenting you or try to shut you down or degrade you in a way that would keep you from outshining them. So just something that, as me personally, I've dealt with issues with my self-confidence, in my skills and my abilities, even though I know I have the knowledge to do that. It's something that I have continued to deal with up until today. Another thing that I found in here that I thought was another part of the dichotomy was that a leader needs to be confident but never cocky, and that confidence is contagious, which is a great attribute for a leader and a team. I find that very true for everything, including athletic training, that if say your preceptor shows that confidence in you, and either tells you or shows you that they think that you can do it, then it really helps you out in your self-confidence and what your abilities are and what you can do. And then it continues to list the dichotomy. It lists it again at the end of this section. competitive but a gracious loser, which is something that I have also dealt with as being. I am a super competitive person, and I continue and I try to strive, whether I'm competing against other people or against myself, and I try to provide just to do everything the best that I can. Um, and in sport, when I was young, I had a problem with losing and dealing with all that, but um, as I've grown older and matured more, I find that um, I just enjoy the competition of everything, and whether win or lose, I just enjoy competing and doing everything. So um, something I apply to athletic training and to everything that I do in life is just to try to be a competitor. Um, let's see here. Something that they mentioned a lot in the whole book was that you needed to make sure that you were a leader, and an effective leader, an ability to lead your subordinates, but making sure that at times you're not afraid to follow in their footsteps if they have better expertise or better ideas or whatever the situation may be. And then chapter 12, they talked about a situation where the CEO had kept open the electrical division of the company because his good friend was running it, even though the division was not profitable. So it was something that the CEO had to go back in and look at the dichotomy and say that he, as a leader, he needs to be close to his subordinates and his workers, but not so close that one of those workers or subordinates becomes more important than the overall mission or the rest of the team. And that was something that he had to reevaluate, and decided to shut down the electrical division of the company. And then in the afterword, the authors discuss just leadership again, and they talk about how some people are born with natural qualities of being a good leader, such as charisma, sharp wit, decisive mind, ability to remain calm in chaotic, high-pressure situations. Some people are born with that stuff, and some people aren't born with it, but that doesn't mean that people who aren't born with that kind of stuff can't be good leaders. They just have to be willing to really work at that aspect and work at the quality of leadership, and just be willing to learn and seek guidance and do all that kind of stuff. Overall, this book, I have really enjoyed it. I found that at the beginning, I really, really enjoyed the beginning, and for the first 5 or 6 chapters, they introduced new ideas every chapter, and then they kept building on those throughout. And then I found towards the end, they were just kind of repeating basically what they had already said in the first few chapters. So I kind of found it a little repetitive at the end, but I really liked the presentation of it, of the book, the real life situation that they had went through in their war zone, and then the breakdown of the principle after that, and then the business application, which, I mean, for us, athletic training isn't a business necessarily, but it's a good real life practical explanation, I guess, of what's going on. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this book. I'm not a huge reader, but this was a really easy read for me. Just and kind of eye-opening at the same time to see what exactly all of these guys go through on a daily basis in their different deployments. So overall, big recommend. Extreme Ownership. Check it out. Other than that, thanks for listening. Have a good day.